What's up, YouTube? Coming to you with episode 2 of Tech Talk. So let's get right into it. Today, our topic is Apple new iPads or no. So, Apple had a new event today where they announced a couple of things, but they also announced the iPads. And that is the main thing I'm going to talk about in this particular episode. Just so you know, some of the other things that they actually talked about at the event. We got Apple Pay, that's starting soon, mid-October. We got the iCloud photo library, which is just a new photo, basically a redo of Photo Stream. We got Yosemite, the new operating system, which is more supposed to be merging more so to be like iOS, so it can be like more seamless between your iOS, iPhone, and iPad devices and your computer. We got the Retina iMac, and then we got the Mac Mini that's faster, and then they also have a version with Fusion Drive. I would really love to have Fusion Drive one day. It's a little high for me right now, so I'm hoping, in a couple years, Apple will finally start bringing down the price on those Fusion drives, and then maybe it just become a standard. Kind of like how solid state drives is now becoming a standard on their computers. That's what I'm hoping Fusion Drive can maybe be. So let's get right into the iPads. We got 2 new iPads. We have the iPad Mini 3, and then we have the iPad Air 2. So with those 2, we now have a total of 5 iPads in Apple's lineup. Let me go down the list. When I say the prices, all these are still starting at the 16 gigabyte base price, which I personally think is ridiculous, but I'll get into that in a minute. So we have the iPad Mini, which is the very original iPad, for $249. We have the iPad Mini 2, which is formerly known as the iPad Mini with Retina display. That is now going to be $299. We have the iPad Mini 3, the one that was released today, for $399. We have the old iPad Air from last year. That's going to be $399. And then we have the brand new iPad Air 2, which is going to be $499. Now, I am still very, 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 very disappointed that Apple is still releasing iPads and iPhones at the 16 gigabyte model. They know they can upgrade to at least 32 and it won't hurt them that much. I mean, I know they're trying to stretch their profit margin, but gosh, there is no reason to still be releasing these devices with 16 gigabytes in 2014, knowing they're continually updating the cameras. These apps are continuously getting bigger. Updates are getting constantly bigger. And y'all never give the full 16 gigabytes anyway. I think really, when you order some 16 gig, I think it's really like 12. I think they always take out like 4 gigs off. So you're not even getting the full 16 gigabytes. So I really, 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 really hope that next year, starting next year, that Apple will start releasing phones and iPads at the 32 gigabyte model. I really hope so, because the 16 gigabyte thing is just absolutely ridiculous at this point. So with the iPad Mini, the original one, the only option you have for storage is 16 gigs. With the iPad Mini 2, the only options they're going to give is 16 and 32. They dropped the 64 gig model. With the iPad Air, the one from last year, you only get the 16 and 32 gig model. And then with the 2 new models, the iPad Mini 3 and the iPad Air 2, they followed the same storage like they did with the new iPhones. And you have 16, 64, and 128. So let's get right into some of the new specs. Let's start off with the iPad Mini 3. So the new specs, the basic difference between this one and the iPad Mini 2 is they've added Touch ID now. So you got the security of Touch ID, and you can order, using the App Store to pay for stuff and things like that. You got Apple Pay. And then, of course, you now have the option to buy the iPad Mini in gold to match your gold iPhone. That's it. Nothing internally has been changed. You still have the A7 chip from last year that's in the iPad Mini 2. And, that's pretty much it, honestly. That's the only updates. So, in my opinion, if I was an owner, which I am, if I was you and you owned an iPad Mini 2, aka the iPad Mini with Retina display, I would not upgrade to the iPad Mini 3. Honestly, there's no point unless you just absolutely have to have Touch ID and Apple Pay, or you really want the gold option and you just got money like that. Then hey, you got money like that. But for the other people, there's really no reason to upgrade to this model. It still has the same processing chip. I can understand if the processing chip had been changed. It's the same internals. Only thing they did was add Touch ID, Apple Pay, and now I can buy it and go. Those are things I can wait for next year to when they actually improve the internals. So if you're already an owner of an iPad Mini 2, I would not waste money and lose money basically because you're selling your depreciated iPad Mini 2 because, it's the last year's model, and then spending brand new money on iPad Mini 3 just for those simple 3 things or 2. Say you don't even like the gold option, like me. I personally like my iPads to have a black border around them because it makes, for me personally, when I view my big picture, I just like a black border. Even though I do kind of want the gold option, so that's going to be tricky when I do decide to upgrade. But anyway, if that is, those are the only 3 things. Personally, I would wait. If you have the iPad Mini 2 already, you should wait. Just hold off to next year. Your iPad Mini 2 is still good. Like I said, it's the same internals. All you missing is Touch ID, Apple Pay, and gold option, which personally, all those 3 things I have in my new iPhone. So I don't even use Touch ID. My iPad pretty much stays at home, except for when I travel on cruises to upload pictures, and I don't even have a security code on my iPad, so that's really not a big important thing to me. So if you could, I will hold off. Now, if you're in the market for getting the new iPad Mini 2, I would still buy the iPad Mini 2 because you can get a better deal. I would definitely buy the 32 gigs at $350. It's a steal. I mean, most of the other iPads, you have $100 jump between the, when you go from 16 to 32, when you go any storage up. On the iPad Mini 2 and iPad Air, they just made a $50 difference. So I would definitely buy the 32 gig for $350. You get a great tablet at $350. That's a steal, And then just wait till next year till they actually improve the internals, and then you can upgrade. I mean, $350 is still a great price for the iPad Mini 2. That's what I would do if I was in your boat. If you already have one, no need to upgrade. And then if you're in the market to look for and buy a new iPad Mini, like say you have the original one, or say you don't have one at all, I would still just jump up to the iPad Mini 2. That's just my personal opinion. Let's talk about the iPad Air 2. Now this one also, of course, has the gold option, and here are basically the new things that this is improved over last year's model. 18% thinner. Probably won't notice it, but they gotta add that in there, make it sound good. It does have a new chip. It has the A8X chip, which they say is 40% faster, and the graphics should be 2.5 times faster. So if you're a gamer, you play a lot of games, of course graphics is always important, and processing speed is always important, so that might be something you definitely want to look into if you have the older model. And then the other thing is the cameras. The rear camera now has 8 megapixels. It also has the option to do slow motion video and time lapses, which is the first time they put that on one of the tablets. I didn't read about that being on an iPad Mini 3, so I think that's maybe an exclusive iPad Air thing. I could be wrong, but I didn't read that regarding the iPad Mini 3 purchase. I think it's strictly an iPad Air 2 thing for that slow motion and time lapse is one of the camera features. And then the front camera has improved face detection, and it also has a new burst mode selfie feature. So, you can take all the selfies you want, just hold the button, and keep smiling, and you can choose from which one you like best. And then, of course, it also has the Touch ID. So, now with that one, those are some substantial upgrades because, for one, the new chips and graphics, that's always something that will make you want to upgrade. The Touch ID, of course, is nice. The rear camera, I personally don't be taking a lot of pictures, especially with my large tablet, like that size, but some people do, so that might be definitely something important to some people. Like if the camera got upgraded on an iPad Mini, that would be something to consider, but it didn't, because that's a small device. So sometimes I do take pictures on my iPad Mini, very rare. But like I said, with the iPad Air, some people do take pictures, so this might be something very important for them. So, and then it has the new chip. That's basically the big things for me. It has a new chip. Of course, it has also the Go option. Not sure if I mentioned that or not. But that can be a very good improvement. I'm not sure if for the previous iPad Air uses, if that's enough of a jump. Sometimes with me, the processor jump is usually, but if it has usually a processor, updated processor and a better camera, that's reasons for me to always jump up. That's just me though, because I'm a camera person, photographer, so, and I'm always, faster is always better. Definitely will be an improvement for other users like me. Like I have the old iPad mini 3. I'm sorry, the old iPad 3. I have that one that had the 30-pin connector. It was first iPad with Retina, and then later that year they actually released the iPad. I forgot what they called it. I guess it eventually became the iPad 4, I believe, pretty much with the new Thunderbolt connector, or Thunderbolt Lightning connector. So yeah, I have that iPad. So if you're like me, you have that one, or even the iPad 2, the original iPad, even the iPad 4. Upgrading to the iPad 2, the Air 2, would definitely be a very, very good upgrade. Especially if you have those older iPads, like I just named. So I definitely see the iPad Air 2 being a substantial upgrade for some users. The iPad Mini 3, I just don't think it's worth the price right now over the iPad Mini 2. I honestly would get the iPad Mini 2 if you're if you're in the market for a new iPad Mini, or if you already have the iPad Mini 2, I would just keep it. I personally have the iPad Mini 2, 64 gig. I see no reason to jump up to the iPad Mini 3. It just makes no sense for me to pay $500 so I can have the same amount of storage, of course. I actually need to go up because my 64 gig is actually maxed out. And I'm waiting for Apple to come out with a 256 gig model iPad. So I might ask, well, why would you want that? I'm a photographer, and what I really use my iPad mini for is to upload my photos from vacations. I really like looking at my vacation photos on my iPad. I kind of like using like a digital photo book, basically. So that's why I want 256 gigabytes. So I'm kind of waiting for them to do that. And then, like I said, they didn't update anything in the internal. So I'm not sure why anybody would want to upgrade if they didn't update the process, if it's going to be the same process as last year. But some people might really want that Touch ID. They probably use the iPad Air for business, so they might really, really, really just feel the need to have the Touch ID versus a lock code, I guess. Apple Pay, I don't see why, though. You can just use your iPhone, but hey, maybe it's a business thing. I don't know. I really just don't see why anybody would really, really, truly want to upgrade to the iPad 3 if they already have the iPad Mini 2. I just don't see, there's really no reason to upgrade. And like I said, if you're in a new market for buying an iPad, I would still get the iPad 2 over the iPad Mini 3 just because it has the same internals. You can get a better deal. I mean, you can get the 32 gig for $350 versus paying versus paying the $400 for the entry-level 16 model iPad 3. And it has all the same internals. Only thing it added was Touch ID and Apple Pay. Like, it just makes it's very clear and cut to me. So definitely won't recommend getting an iPad Mini 3 over the iPad Mini 2 right now. Just get the 32 gig for $350. Or if you want to get the 16 for $300, I would just get 32 gig. Trust me, you rather have more space than not enough. Trust me on that one. I'm telling you how. Boy, I used to run out of 16 so fast. My 64 gig is stocked up on my iPad from pinning pictures. If you upload pictures and then you probably want to put movies and stuff on there, just trust me, you'll want to go with the 32 gig. And then, like I said, if you have any of the older iPad Air iPads that I named, updating to the iPad Air 2 will be substantial. Probably won't regret that one. I would love to upgrade. I just do not feel like paying $700 for a 128. Because if I upgrade, that's what I'm getting. And I just don't feel like doing it. So yeah. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of Tech Talk on the 1st and 16th. Make sure you check back again on November 1st for another episode. Go ahead and subscribe so you can make sure you always get these videos. You can also follow on Twitter. It will let you know when we upload a video. And you can also follow us on Instagram. I'm trying to get more pictures up there, but also trying to get the followers up, so you can follow at those two places. But most important, make sure you subscribe so you make sure you get the inbox. Thank you to our sponsor, www.shopmobilegadgets.com. Make sure you check them out for your accessory needs. And until next time, make sure you check back later.